Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the YouTube channel grecochess, where we analyze, comment, discuss, and talk about all aspects about the game of chess. I'm your host, my name is Harry Lavsaneziris, and in this video we continue presenting games that have just been completed in the online tournament grecochess that takes place on the platform of chess.com. We started with 16 players, now we are in the final round with 4 players. Up to this point, 8 out of the 12 games have been completed. 2 of them will bypass them because they ended in move number 1 with the resignation. We already presented 2 of the other games, and now it's time for the next one. We'll continue one video, one game at a time. And let's see which is the game for today. Let me share my screen with you. And here we are. It's myself. I have the black pieces, the Harry, against maximgovorukha. And before we start, let me repeat. The 4 finalists are, of course, maximgovorukha from the Ukraine, myself, the Harry from Greece, and we have 2 more players, Barak 7 from Israel and my skin from Italy. These are the 4 finalists. We play against each other, meaning each of us has to play each other twice, once with white, once with black. Now it is my turn with black to face maximgovorukha, who has the white pieces. You see the differential. maximgovorukha has 1804 and I have only 1364. So clearly the odds are against me. I have no illusions. But let's see how the game is going to go. And maximgovorukha starts with the pawn going to e4. And I reply with the French defense, pawn to e6. The next moves are the standard ones for the French, pawns to d4 and d5. And then maximgovorukha goes for the exchange variation. The comment of the online coach, which by the way is artificial intelligence, says the following. E takes on d5 is not the most ambitious plan for white against the French defense, but it does allow easy development with knight to f3, bishop to d3, and short castling in the near future. I take back the pawn, of course. What else can I do? By the way, so long as you see this little booklet here, it means that we are talking about book moves, which means that these moves have been analyzed in theory in the past. My knight goes to f6, still book move. And by the way, as you know, I'm only showing part of the screen. I'm only sharing part of the screen because the remaining of the screen is going to show how the game went on and what was the conclusion. And I don't want to spoil the surprise. Bishop to d3 for maximgovorukha. And bishop to g4 for me. We completed the first 5 moves. maximgovorukha has a small advantage of 0.3 just because he started first. Next move, kingside castling. Bishop to e7 for me. The reason I'm doing is twofold. First of all, I don't want to have to face a check if rook or queen goes to e1. It's already covered and I can continue with another development. For example, if I place my bishop on d6, I might have to push my bishop back to e7 in order not to lose castling rights. And the second is, what if maximgovorukha sends a bishop on g5? Then I don't want my knight on f6 to be pinned. And let's continue. Pawn to h3. So finally, maximgovorukha deviates from opening theory, attacks my bishop on g4, and now poses me the question. What should I do? Should I go back? Should I take the knight or what? I just cannot leave it on g4. I take it back, so we continue with the pin. Bishop is on h4. And now maximgovorukha places the bishop on e2 to stop the pin, although the computer, you see the green arrow, means that they had better place the rook on e1. Kingside castling for me. Knight to e5. If I'm careless, I'm losing my bishop on h5 because attacked twice and defended only once, and there is no second way to defend it. I should either move it to g6 or exchange. If I move it to g6, the problem is that then I can take it and I lose a bishop for a knight. I take it. maximgovorukha will take it back to the queen, and my turns move. According to the computer, I should have placed my rook on e8 and x-ray the queen. Instead, I placed my rook, my knight on e4. This is an inaccuracy, and so we completed the first 10 moves, and Maxim Govorukha is ahead by 0.3, as you see here. Let's continue. Queen to b5 for Maxim Govorukha threatens my pawn on b7, and through that it also threatens my rook on a8 if I'm not careful. And that's why I place my pawn on b6. At least I avoid pawn loss or material loss. The computer coach says that is a good time for you to get out of trouble. The computer would rather have my knight go to c6. Of course, then I would lose my b7 pawn. I might be able to exchange knights on e5, and this perhaps could be better for me. Knight goes to d2 for Maxim Kovorukha, develops a knight. And I threaten the queen. With the computer, I had better threaten the knight with my pawn. What I'm afraid is I don't want to open the diagonal from a2 to g8 where my king is located. But perhaps that could have been better. Queen goes back to b3. Bishop goes to f6. Threatens the knight. Not the best move, but not bad either, says the computer coach. Pawn to f4, inaccuracy. Of course, it depends the second time the knight, because until now I could take it and then I could threaten a pawn, but now they will have two pawns connected. I take it, and by doing so, Maxim Govorukha opens the f file for his rook. So his rook occupies controls most of the semi-open f file. Semi-open because there is only one black pawn. My knight goes to c6. And the computer code says your best move was to avoid trading the piece, and what this means is place my knight on g4. Pawn to c3. Missed opportunity, because if there was an exchange, my pawn on e4 would be very sensitive. It was just one move that worked for them, and this wasn't it, says the computer coach. But before we do that, we completed the first 15 moves, and Maxim Govorukha has an advantage of 1.4, as you see here. Starts becoming important. But after this inaccuracy, it falls down to 0.4. I threaten the queen. You attack a queen, winning a tempo when it moves away. Yes. And now I take the knight. Now that I finally did what it wanted, he didn't like it. Bishop takes back. My knight goes to c4 to threaten the bishop. Your best way was to attack a pawn chain, meaning have my pawn go to f6. Bishop goes back to c1. Right on target, says the computer coach. My queen goes to e7. And the pawn goes to a4 for Maxim Govorukha, wants to start something, an attack along the queen side. And the computer coach says the game is now close to equal as your opponent's small edge has disappeared. Well, to still 0.9, my queen go to e6. You had a better option, but this is not bad. Better would be to have my pawn go to c5. We completed the first 20 moves, and Maxim Govorukha has an advantage of 1.1. It's good to have it, not yet winning the game, but really giving Maxim Govorukha the highest odds. Pawn to b3. Threatens my knight. My knight has only one square to go to a5. For sure, you have to move away from the threat, says the computer coach. Bishop to a3 and threatens my rook on f8. and I save my rook sending it to c8. It's opposite of the queen, and also can give support to my pawn going to c5, even though the computer would rather have me directly place my pawn on c5. Rook goes to f3. Maximgovorukha is threatening to double his rooks. My pawn goes to c5. So if he doubles them, then my rook can go to c7 and protect the f7 pawn. Because it goes back to f8, of course, the bishop on f3 will take it. This moves attacks your opponent's pawn chain. Yes, I can take the pawn on d4, and the c3 cannot take it back because of the queen behind it. If I could play again. Rook goes to f1. And we have this double attack. The rooks on f1 and f3 can take my pawn on f7. If queen takes it back, then I'm going to lose a queen and a pawn for two rooks. My pawn takes now on d4, and of course the c3 pawn cannot take it back because the queen is behind, because of the pin. But the computer coach does not like it. Your better option was to bring the last piece into the game, meaning the rook go from a8 to a7. You permitted the opponent to create a passed pawn. Did not send the queen to f2. Inaccuracy says the computer, but I have a triple attack on f7. And my pawn takes on c3. The computer code says you trade off equal material. And Maxim Govorukha's advantage is 1.8. It's significant, not yet winning, but better have it than your opponent having it. And rook goes to f7. They are threatening to force eventual checkmate. Clearly, if Maxim Govorukha could play again, rook goes to f8, my rook takes it, queen takes it, my rook on a8 takes the queen on f8, and then the rook on f1 checkmates. So if Maxim Govorukha could play a second time in a row, it checkmate, and I need to address it. And the best way I found to address it is the reason why the last one is a checkmate, even though Maxim Govorukha has sacrificed the queen, is because my king has nowhere to go. So what do I do? Pawn to h6. And yes, it's the best move. You stopped your opponent from being able to force eventual checkmate. Still 1.8 advantage for Maxim Govorukha, and sends his rook to e7 and threatens my queen. They missed a chance to eventually win material. It would have been better if the bishop went to f8. And what do I do? This was a blunder. You allow the opponent to force eventual checkmate. My queen should have gone to g6, not to c6. While for 26 moves, I had kept the advantage to a reasonable length, to 0.9, you see here, which is much better, not so bad as you'd expect for someone that is 440 points above me. Now that's it. Two move blunder. Queen to f7 check. Clearly from there on, it forces an eventual checkmate. And queen to g7. I saw the previous mate that was made in many moves, and I missed this mate in two moves. Congratulations to Maxim Govorukha. He took a queen. And I have started with two losses in the final round. Things are not going well for me at all. But that's life. You have successes like Queen Chess Club Round 2. And you have failures and disappointments. Well, it was a success to make it the final round of the grecochess tournament, but at the final round, things are not going well at all. I'm not going to show to you what happens because I will spoil the surprise for the next few games. But let's see what happens. Not good. Let's go first to the game review. And here we are. You see what happened. 86.8% accuracy for Maxim Govorukha, 78.4 for me. Maxim Govorukha played with a rating of 1850 and my rating was just 1400. And in the categories, one great move for Maxim Govorukha, 11 versus 7, the best for him. One excellent each of us. Good moves, 8 versus 4 for me. Six book mooks each of us. Inaccuracies, 3 for Maxim Govorukha, 2 for me. Mistakes, 1 for Maxim Govorukha, 3 for me. 2 misses for Maxim Govorukha. And unfortunately, the blunder at the very end that decided the game for me. As mentioned before, we're not going to see what is the case in the other games because we have, if I'm correct, how many games? 3 more games. We'll have 3 more games to that have been completed and we'll show in later videos in the from the grecochess. Two of them will show them the next videos. Then we have the third round of the Queen's Chess Club, the December Swiss, and then one more, and we'll see what happens after that. But let's now go and give a look at what happens at the other tournament. I've been following the Underwater Moonlight, the 9 Moons tournament. We go play tournaments, go current, next page, and the page after that. And here we are. Let's see what's happening. We have 621 games have been completed, 27 games to go. We're very near the end of the first round. And let's see what's happening. Some groups have already been decided. Like group number 4, you see that's why the players are in different colors. Iraq Lion from Iraq, Rishi Raja from India, and Vivali Divyas from India have advanced. Group 5, Chinan Fu from Greenland, IMMT from Indonesia, and Peon Perez from Palestine. Group 6, Mathis B from France, David, 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 from Brazil, and Munja 44 from Croatia. Group 7, Mebius from Nigeria, Gandalf 66 from Uzbekistan, and Tragis from Brazil. And my group number 8, Khaled Katab from Egypt, Elisier MSTL from Cuba, and Gogoship Original from European Union have advanced. And group 9, no, the other groups, 5 groups have been completed. 4 groups. Let's see what's happening. Group 1, Lotus Time Chess from Japan. Oli Combo from Australia have advanced, and the third place is between Marco 1409 and Canon 1972 from uh, Marco 49 is from Germany, and Canon 1972 is from the United States. So if Canon 1972 wins gains even 1 point due to tie breaking, Canon 972 will advance. If Canon 1972 takes half of 0 points, Marco 1409 is going to advance. This is group 1. Group 2. The two top, Spider 99 from Egypt and Luciano Cojan from Argentina, had advanced. The third spot is between Zhonglei 123 from China, One Word from England, and Abdul Basit Karizada from Afghanistan. Group 3, Maxim Govorukha, who is also in the grecochess tournament, has advanced, and so has Vien Karvanans from Malaysia. And the third spot, we have 3 people still competing. Zaniro from Italy, who is the organizer of this tournament and is a subscriber of my channel. Silvio, 8 times 8 times 8 from Croatia, have advanced, while RMV to 9827 from Mexico is out due to the tie-breaking points. And if I count correctly, Zaniro is definitely in the next round, while Silvio, 8 times 8 times 8 from Croatia, has a chance, depending on what happens at the 2 remaining games. And let's see the last group. Here, many games remain. It's difficult to say. Nobody has guaranteed advancing. Steam Rocket from Australia is leading, but even this person is not guaranteed. This is what is happening with the tournaments. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of excitement. A few more games from grecochess. The third round out of 5 from the Queen's Chess Club, the December Swiss. We have a lot of other things to do. If we run out of material, we still have the puzzles. We did 39 the first time, 40 the second. See, we can break this record. And we have also facing the bots. We had a temporary setback from Emir from Turkey. We needed 3 times to beat with the black pieces, but every other bot, we've been able to beat them the very first time, and we'll continue with more of them. But that's it for now. Thanks to all the viewers, the subscribers, the likes, the nice comments. Especially, I loved the congratulations after last week's triumph I had in the second round of the Queen's Chess Club. But that's it for now. This is the Greco Chess YouTube channel. I'm your host, Harry Lasanesiris. Thanks for watching and goodbye.